Kia ora team, just before we get into this episode, I wanted to remind you that this school holidays StudyTime is running workshops that give you all the support you need to smash your NCEA exams. The workshops give a full rundown of each NCEA standard. They're really awesome. They span 6 hours and you get a little booklet to take away with you, and there's tons of resources. The tutors are really fun. Everything's really exciting. So if that's something that interests you, head over to studytime.co.nz/workshops. We're running them in Auckland, Wellington, Hamilton, Palmerston North and Christchurch. You will enjoy it, I promise. That's studytime.co.nz/workshops. Now, on with the show. Kia ora guys, welcome to the Wholesome Half Hour. We thought we'd mix things up a little bit and venture into the outdoors today.
Yeah, so we're all outside today. It's such nice weather. The past couple of days in Welly has been
Wellington,
so good.
The weather is absolutely amazing.
It's so nice, genuinely. It finally feels like it's beginning to get into a later point of the year that's not characterized by rain and wind every like second or third day.
No, it's an awesome difference. If you're listening to the audio version, we are literally sitting outside like on the Wellington waterfront, so if it sounds a bit noisier than usual, if there's a bit of wind, that's why. But
if you're hearing some other stuff
here and
there,
you know, the people who like to blast. What's your opinion on that? Like blasting Bluetooth speakers in public? No?
It's a big no from me.
I mean, I'm not a fan.
I'm not going to say it too loud, but it's a big no for me.
It is an interesting one. Cool. So this is the last week of school holidays.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like it's only really like just been on break, which is weird. I feel like this time of year always goes a lot faster because the terms themselves are a lot shorter.
The third term definitely goes a lot faster.
Third term is definitely.
Yeah, so the school holidays have arrived again. And so what I thought we'd do again is give like a couple of pointers, give some what our thoughts are on like some of the best things you can do this school holidays.
Yeah.
Because it is unless you count it's the last school holidays during the school year.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and when you go to the next holidays, it's summer, and I feel like that's quite a different kind of experience.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah,
it's like a totally different approach.
100%. Yeah.
You want to relax a bit, but you also don't want to drop the ball completely.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. So. We've got some of your questions as per usual, and we'll be answering them a bit later in the show, but we're going to start with just discussing how to really make these holidays feel like they're worth it, and to make you come out of those 2 weeks.
Sunglasses, I just realised this.
Yeah, I know. I very much am sad that I didn't bring my sunglasses today. It's upsetting, but it's fine. It's what we're currently working with. But yeah, just trying to maximise your holidays and actually make you feel like at the end of your 2 weeks.
I took the cable, but it's still working.
It's fine.
If it sounds weird, sorry.
You're feeling a bit insecure about this,
Yeah, I'm feeling real worried, but we'll keep going anyway.
We're working with it. It's what it is. Yeah, just to make you feel like that at the end of these next 2 weeks that you're not going to just feel like you did absolutely nothing, achieved absolutely nothing. And this doesn't necessarily have to relate to schooling itself. It can just be like you feel like you actually had a decent break and you're coming back into school, into term 4, into exam season, feeling like you're refreshed and ready to actually deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I'll go straight into the first one.
Yeah.
This is definitely something we just had a couple of weeks ago. Our uni break wrapped up. It was 2 weeks as well.
Yep.
And I felt like I had the best uni break that I've had in literally forever.
Yeah.
It was really good. It felt longer than a standard 2 weeks. And I just felt real positive and energized a little bit. So I guess at the end,
what
one
was
of the things I did
difference?
is think about what I did. And I guess one of probably the most significant thing that I did differently compared to other holidays is I every day, every single day, I try to do one memorable thing, and that doesn't mean you have to go I don't know, go for this is an example straight from my blog, but that doesn't mean you have to go for a skydive every day.
Which is actually something that my flatmates did those holidays. They actually went skydiving.
That's very cool.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you to do something memorable every day. It doesn't mean you have to spend $500.
Yeah, definitely.
But something you'll remember. So things that are memorable are I will remember that, on a certain day, last week I went to, Seatoon and hung out on the beach with a couple of my mates. I'm going to remember that. That's a unique, memorable thing. Whereas if last Tuesday I just watched House of Cards, I'm not going to remember that I watched season 1, episode 5 on that day.
Yeah, I think the thing is about that kind of stuff, it's information that you will remember, but you won't remember when you did it or where you did it. It's something that you will you'll know as a fact, but it's in the exact same way that you can have, everyone knows, basic math or something like that. When you know that you learned that, or you know that you now have that information, but you won't remember where you got it.
Can you tell I'm stressed out during the show, just listening to the sound?
It's fine, man. It's fine.
It'll be alright.
It's fine. That's what we're working with.
Awkward if the sound's real bad and it's not alright.
We'll work through it. It'll be fine.
Oh.
Everything will be fine. All will be well. Cool. But yeah, no, it's one of those things that creating experiences, and I think that is a real big part of it, is creating an experience as opposed to a memory that could be just anytime, any place.
I agree.
Going out and doing something like what we've done today. It's such a nice day, so we thought we'd change it up and we'd come outside. It's just making it a slight change that
just
we're going to remember.
It's the small things that make things memorable.
100%. And I mean, I think this doesn't have to be I went on a big voyage every day, or I went out, or something like that. I know for me personally, if I were trying to do something like that, which is something I would probably very much try to do in my next holidays to make it more memorable, would be doing something doing a project every day, or just a small thing every day.
We spoke with a guy last week who made he's told us he made a diorama every day.
A diorama every day, which is so
sounds
impressive.
random, but you're gonna remember, and you're gonna look at the end of the holidays and be I made 14 paintings, or I made 14 dioramas, or 14 drawings, or whatever, and that's actually a really cool thing to look back on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that you I guess the added bonus of something like that is you've got something to show for it at the end as well. And I know, for Siren at least, when he goes out and does a lot of things, he vlogs with it as well. So, he gets to create something cool at the end of that. And, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything you do has to have some kind of end product. But just doing something that would be worthy of putting in a vlog even.
No, definitely.
That's
I
almost
agree. I totally agree, 100%. I guess, do you have anything, I think it's definitely worthwhile doing that kind of memorable stuff. It makes the experience so much. you see some weird stuff when you're sitting outside. It's so much more distracting being out here and seeing people walk past all the time.
I think the thing is as well, to a lot of people walking past us, they must think we're doing something
We're the
really
weirdos,
weird.
but we think they're the weirdos because they stare at us.
That is very true.
That's
I guess if we, because I feel we've sort of kept this quite in the abstract, but what are some actual specific things that you could do? I know for you, might be going out with your mates and actually doing something.
You're going out with your mates and doing something different. I feel like we're creatures of habit, and that's all good. It's all good. You enjoy going to the same cafe, going there every day, but you will remember if you go somewhere different for once. And it is kind of fun just to mix things up, the places, the people you see, the places you go. The times you go, if you're not a morning person, just experiment, going out for breakfast in the morning, or just hanging out with your friends in the morning, just making changes and experimenting a little bit. I'm actually really into that the self-improvement, experimentation stuff, trying the self-improvement stuff, and then trying it religiously for a couple of weeks, and then at the end being did this actually work? And if it didn't, that's all good, but giving it a shot and then reviewing later.
I think a good example of something that is very I guess tangible, as an example of something that you can actually do is when you're with your friends in class avoiding doing work, and something comes up and everyone's oh my god, we should actually do that sometime. And you've always got that group of mates that you're we love talking about doing things, and then we never actually get around to doing it, and then when you actually have that free time you're I don't even know what I want to do. So I think even in this next week or so, and even in these last few days before your holidays, if you end up having these conversations with friends, even just write these ideas down sometimes, because I think it's very easy for us to just straight forget what it is that we want to be doing.
like when I come up with one of those ideas and I think it's genuinely good, I'll put a reminder for like a week's time, or even if I know I'm going to be busy for the next month, I'll put a reminder for 1 month's time and be like, organize like Pinnacle's trip. Actually, that's one of the things that I wanted to do in the holidays that I didn't get around to, that I thought about weeks before. We tried to go, but the weather didn't work out. Anyway, like when I think about stuff, I'll like straight away like be like, I know like I'm busy at the moment, I can't do that, but I'll set a reminder on my phone for like 1 month's time to like organize that thing, because otherwise like you come up with all these good ideas and like wouldn't it be cool if they actually like eventuated?
Yeah,
like,
definitely. And I know for me, like a very big one for me is going out op shopping with my friends, because like we absolutely love doing it, and it's such a good time, and you find some really cool things, and it's like a really, like if I'm going to go on a mini rant for a second, it's such a good way to get clothing in a way that you can get quality stuff and it's cheaper, I should say, but it's also a little bit more ethical in the way that you're reusing something that doesn't need to be thrown away.
Does this become like a promo for like op shopping?
Not necessarily for op shopping, but I think as well, quite often the money goes to charities and stuff like that, and I think it's very difficult these days just to buy clothing ethically. Like that is a very big like I guess challenge to a lot of people. So I think op shopping is like a really good way of doing it, and it's also like a real fun way of like you can get clothing and like alter it and like mess it up, and it's also like a really good way to like you can practice changing things, and like it's a pretty low risk, because at the end of the day, like I think the most I would ever spend on like something at the op shop might be like $7.
Yeah,
like you know, it's pretty low risk.
That
you
is
know,
very low risk.
I think it's a really good chance to try a whole lot of that kind of stuff. So
you know what else is low risk? You know what's another guaranteed high quality fashion item?
What?
A StudyTime t-shirt.
A StudyTime t-shirt.
We just got these in today. StudyTime t-shirts available in black or white.
Or white.
And we also have caps. This is not a StudyTime cap. This is just like a normal cap.
Yeah.
But we also have StudyTime caps.
He didn't want to overload you with merch.
I didn't want to overload you with merch. So you know, one StudyTime merch item at a time.
Yeah.
Though we also have I like parent company. We also have like their keep cups. So, like,
yeah, that's what we're currently repping.
We've really sold out to our like employer.
Yeah. We're very much part of the corporation.
But
at this point.
like if you want a StudyTime shirt, go to studytime.co.nz and you can pick one up.
Yeah.
Black, white, limited run.
Limited run. Ooh, that's spicy. That's what a way to sell something.
Yeah.
It's limited edition.
It's limited. It's gonna run out. We'll never make them ever again. We probably will.
If you guys
if you
really
want one,
like
you should
them,
get them.
Yeah, definitely.
We're definitely going to be giving some away. Especially, I know we just did a giveaway for our insiders group. So yeah, if you're into buying a StudyTime shirt, all the profit, which I don't think is very much, but all the profit on the shirt goes into like making the walkthrough guides and stuff like that. So
just
really
to keep
awesome.
making stuff for you guys, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
help pay us to make this show.
Yeah, help
Very
us
important.
help you. Oh, that was very capitalist of me. I'm so sorry.
Help us help you.
Yeah.
This isn't like I don't want to turn this into like a Tom's Shoes, like buy a t-shirt and we'll give a study guide to a child in need.
Oh, how awful. Okay, moving on.
The study guides are available for free online, so we kind of already do that.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just making most of your holidays and actually like doing something worthwhile. And I think initially it feels like more effort, but you do actually finish holidays feeling more refreshed.
No, you absolutely do.
I think by spending the entire time, for lack of a better word, like indoors kind of
thing.
I
feel like everyone knows the feeling of like getting near the end of the holidays and being like, oh, that went by so quickly and I don't remember what happened. And it's like such a gut, like it's a genuinely like gutting feeling.
Yeah, it is like quite
and if you're able to like take steps to avoid that, like
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like that's awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Are we tackling some questions?
We'll do some questions.
Right.
I did not prepare very well by not finding any questions
Okay, well,
beforehand.
I remember one of them off the top of my head.
Once
you find the name, though, we'll give a shout out to the name. But essentially,
here we go.
they
I've got the
Oh, you got it?
questions.
Okay.
Didn't take
Well,
very
maybe
long.
we'll get word for word then.
Which one? First one? Kate's question?
Yes, Kate's question.
Kate wanted to, Kate said, I know the MCAT's over, but like the point is still relevant. Kate asked that they're past the point of caring about the MCAT. I went to a workshop at school today and people were legit crying. What are your guys' views on the MCAT? And I know this one seemed to get you going.
Yeah, well, not so much get me going, but I think like I feel like Kate asked for like our opinion on MCAT, which is I think not something that we often give. I think quite often here at StudyTime we don't give our opinions on the system. We help you get through the system. Do you know what I mean? And you know, while I'm not here to politicize anything, except for coffee, Ciaran will 100% politicise coffee if he could. If there was a coffee party, he would be running it.
They do kind of have like a hierarchy of like coffee roasteries, but that's a topic for another day.
It's a topic for another vlog, I think.
Someone asked me to do a vlog on that.
Oh, you 100% would. I think the biggest thing about the MCAT, in my personal opinion, I think the idea of it is good. I think the idea of it is important. I think the carry through, or the way in which it has been realised, or the way that it's you know, become presented, and the stigma that's kind of come along with it is like not super awesome. And I personally feel that NZQA as a system has done very little to address, I think, the stigma around it, which I think would be very important in alleviating some of the stress that surrounds it, because I think quite a bit of it is the stigma. It's this idea that students are going to go into it and essentially just absolutely hate it, when really it shouldn't be considered any different to any other external, which are stress-inducing in their own right, but I think the MCAT's kind of got its own special place on the shelf of stress.
I feel like when, and it happens, like occasionally you have these exams where like something goes wrong. And these are going to happen. Like, and there's a lot of precedents. It's inevitable just when you have to put out like, you know, like 50 plus exams in a year, right?
Things are going, not everything is going to be perfect. I think it's the way in which it's dealt with afterwards that is incredibly important. And I, in my own personal experience, I don't think there's been a lot done to address it, or to, I don't know, even like, I think there's not been a lot of consideration for the amount of emotional distress it has actually caused, which I think is quite important. And I think in allowing people to be more, I think, like, say for example, you were at a cafe or a restaurant and you took ages to be served, or your food wasn't good or something like that, and the restaurant is very blasé about it and is kind of like, oh well, we don't care, we're the only restaurant in this town anyway, so you know, like, you're gonna come back no matter what. You're gonna leave with a very bad taste in your mouth. But you know, if you potentially had someone that apologized to you, somebody that said, look, we're really sorry about this, we are working on fixing it, it shouldn't be like this next time. And those changes are actually realised. It's not just talking, but actually doing something about it as well. I think that is going to foster a much better relationship between you and said restaurant and or educational institution.
No, I totally agree. I think like, there's definitely been some problems with the MCAT in the past, and it seems like it's still, like, those problems still like stress people out. And little has been done to resolve that.
It's like there's this historical trauma that MCAT has just dredged through the years.
If I was to give some like just like, you know, like practical useful advice, I wouldn't treat it any different to like any other exam. Like, I'd just approach it like the same way you approach if you're I guess if this is your first exam, like thinking about the internals you have done before that are like tests, I wouldn't treat it any different to that. I'd just like treat it as like another assessment.
I personally wouldn't either.
And it's not like, it's legitimately not worth like stressing out and like actually like feeling like physical and like emotional pain like over an assessment. Like, it's actually not worth it. You're not going to gain anything out of it. Like, you're just kind of stressing yourself out, and it achieves nothing. Like, by getting stressed out, you don't achieve anything. Like, it's totally all right to feel frustrated about it, like, don't get me wrong. But like,
I think if everyone goes in guns blazing with it,
over-stressing about one exam, it's just not worth it, and you're just not going to see a return on that stress.
I think it's like, for example, the amount of stress that Daffy Duck gets with Bugs Bunny, and like, Bugs Bunny every time is just going to be very unapologetic about it, and Daffy Duck's like anger and or frustration at the situation is like overemphasized, which is obviously the comedy of it, but not fruitful in any way, shape or form. And I think by investing too much into it, it does just take away from your well-being in a way that isn't worth that kind of stress. I did watch the like OG Looney Tunes movie the other day, just as a...
If we were to take a step back and say you are getting like really stressed about your exams and stuff, what do you think are some like practical things you can do to just like reduce stress about exams in general?
I think even
Or
like
school in general.
even if you were to like make a list or just like think about everything else that is in your life that isn't school, that is good. I think, especially around this time of year, school does feel very all-encompassing.
Yeah,
I think,
it does.
and it feels
Absolutely.
like it's the be-all and end-all. It feels like it's going to dictate
It
the rest of
actually
your
does.
life.
Like it sounds silly, but it actually does feel like it is going to make and break your life.
Yeah, and I think at this point of the year, in particular, it's important to remember that you've got other things in your life, and that it's 100% okay. You should have other things in your life.
And those are important as well.
Yeah, there is more to you as a human being than a grade on a piece of paper, and how much study you've done, and any kind of competitiveness that you may or may not be experiencing. I think it is important to remember all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And I'd also encourage you, if you are feeling like quite stressed out, quite anxious, to check out our episode from a couple of weeks ago. It's called like 5 Steps to Reducing Anxiety, or 5 Practical
which
Steps
is
to Reducing Anxiety.
also based off an article that you guys can check out as well.
I'll
I'm
link
pretty
that
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
If I remember. I always say I'll link these things, but then like by the time we edit them, it's like
Yeah, I'll do my best to remember you, but I can't make any promises.
No, that's awesome.
Okay, so what's our next
Cool.
question?
Our next question. I asked you this earlier, and I wasn't sure if you knew. I did know this a couple of years ago. I no longer recall. Do you know how to work out torque for mechanics level 2?
Taught.
Torque.
Oh,
T-O-R-Q-U-E. No?
Nah, it's a big no from me.
We will put a link in the description on how to work out torque.
We could we can even link you to, is the level 2 physics walkthrough guides out?
Oh yeah, they are.
So
we'll link you to the
we'll
check
link
out the
you to
level
the
2
walkthrough guide,
StudyTime.co.nz
and you can check it out on there. That should
guides.
answer any questions that you have better than Sarah and I
like
fumbling around
any
for any
question
kind of answer.
about any external standard.
We'll link
StudyTime
you to that
guides.
walkthrough guide.
They are amazing. Like they are like written, like they are amazing, and
Big
they're so
yes.
easy to understand, like compared to the other stuff. Like I'm pretty sure I learned more like reading the first like 3 pages of like one of our walkthrough guides than I learned in like the whole of level 3.
Yeah, so we will link the relevant walkthrough guide.
Yeah. Okay, so this question is kind of like a bit relevant to what we were talking about earlier, and it's from Chantal, and she asks, why do mocks stress us out like they aren't even real exams, yet the teachers and parents put pressure on us? So if just before we like answer that, I want to say, if you finish your mocks, congrats.
Yep.
If you still have them,
My condolences.
yeah. But yeah, I do feel like a lot of pressure is put on mocks.
Yep.
And like, what do you think? How do you feel about that?
I think it's sort of a bit of a two-parted question there, because you're addressing both teachers and parents, and I think their motivations come from a different place.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
So I genuinely think that quite often parents put a lot of emphasis on mocks, minutely because they aren't 100% sure about them or don't understand them to the same extent. They kind of get like this second-hand
and
anxiety.
They have the best intentions at
heart. There's always the best intentions, but I think there's like this second-hand anxiety, second-hand pressure that they probably receive from teachers, from like, I don't know if you think like parent-teacher evenings or any kind of emails and newsletters or anything like that might be sent out. I think parents don't get kind of like a first-hand experience or maybe a first-hand rundown of exactly what they are, or the full importance of them, or I think parents as well aren't aware if they are putting like an added stress on you. I don't think it is ever like intentionally done or ever maliciously done.
No.
And I think potentially even talking with your parents and explaining exactly what they are, sitting down and talking with them about it, that is probably like my best advice for fully maybe like mitigating any kind of pressure that you might be feeling from your parents.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And if you want like have a chat to them, like explain like what mocks are about, and like try to like understand why they're concerned a lot of the time.
And I think
you'd be like, I feel like sometimes like you feel like they're putting pressure on you, but like it's helpful to know why they're putting pressure on you, like know like what their intentions are and why they think the exam's important, and like have a chat to them about it.
Yeah, I think a big part of it as well is if you maybe explain to your parents, like, I actually am really, really stressed about this, they might change the tone of the way in which they're addressing it with you, you know. So if parents aren't knowing how stressed you really are, then they can't know if are actually adding stress to it.
Yeah.
So I think really having like a lot of transparency with parents about what they are, how important they are, and the overall like intentions.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
I think just having like a decent communication and transparency there is quite important.
No, I totally
In terms of
teachers,
I think teachers don't. Again, I don't think it is intentionally them putting heaps and heaps of stress. I think I think they want to put like a little bit of pressure on you to actually get you into doing work, but I don't think it's like heaps and heaps for like malicious purposes again.
No.
I think teachers, maybe particularly for level 1 when they're first introducing it to you, I think their biggest intention is really just trying to get you to study, and I think fear is maybe their biggest kind of way that they're trying to get you to do it, and whether or not that is actually the most efficient way is a different argument. But I think that sometimes the kind of resort the place that teachers resort to is maybe putting a little bit of the fear of God in you to try and get you going. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree, and like
what are your thoughts,
I would just like encourage you to kind of take a step back and like look at it logically. Like, how much work have you put into the mocks? Do you feel that your marks reflect that? If they do, then you're probably fine. Like, even if your grade was bad, if your like marks reflect the work that you put in,
you can't be mad at that.
You can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I remember.
You shouldn't. There's no purpose in being mad about it.
I remember getting like shoddy mock results, and like my initial reaction was like to be like frustrated with it, and then I was like, oh wait, I did no study. I can't be mad at that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't put in zero effort and expect 100% output. That's just, first off, unrealistic, and second off, I think it's quite maladaptive for any kind of thinking strategies. Yeah.
So I definitely encourage you to do that. If you feel like your mocks do not reflect the effort involved, I would really encourage you to like break it down and like realize why, because there's no point getting
really
stressed out about there's no point getting a bit stressed out about things you can't like control.
Yeah.
So like look at it and see like what went wrong. Like, did a particular topic went wrong? Did something specific go wrong? And then like think about what can I do to solve that particular issue. Like if it's a particular topic that went wrong, you know, just like revise that topic. If you put a lot of effort in but you didn't get a lot out, maybe consider your study strategy. And this is the time where I'd encourage you to talk to your parents, talk to your teachers. If you feel like you put a lot of effort in but the grades didn't reflect that.
I think if you're still going into mocks, if you haven't sat them yet and you are feeling like there is this like real disproportionate pressure that's being put on you, I think in your question itself, you kind of sound a little bit self-aware that mocks aren't the be-all and the end-all, but it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you are struggling against what you know it to be and what you feel like the expectations are around you. And so I think one of the best ways of addressing that is to really have like that transparency with your parents, maybe acknowledging your teacher's perspective, and if you aren't planning on studying for mocks, which we like to encourage people to study, but I'm very aware of the fact that a lot of people won't. So if you aren't planning on studying and you don't get your marks back, I really don't think you can get too stressed about it or get too frustrated about it. If you get a good mark, like, well done, but don't expect that to happen in the end of your exams either.
Yeah,
I think you reap what you sow.
Yeah. And like, as usual, like, common logic prevails. Like, if you don't put effort now, and like you're gonna have to put effort in later. As long as you like approach things logically, like things will be like alright. It would be like
we should hope so.
Cool. We'll do like the thing that we used to do all the time and now do like only some of the time, which is like thought of the week. Thought of the week. Do you have a thought? I have a thought.
Okay, what's your thought?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I don't have any like I've only like I actually like wrote a note to start like planning this tonight and start executing this tomorrow. But I've been thinking recently a lot about morning routines.
Okay.
And like I really do believe that if you win the morning, you win the day. Like the morning sets you up. Like if you have like a good first hour of the day, like a lot of the rest of the day is going to go well. Or even if it doesn't, you feel a lot more positive about the day. So I'm actually going to kind of do some experimenting on this. So maybe I'll report back in a couple of weeks.
That. Yeah, I'm a fan.
But some pointers
someone in the comments hold him
have,
accountable.
Yeah, you should hold me accountable. But some like I did kind of like a deep dive on like different people's morning routines, and like I came up with some like kind of like elements that are worthwhile considering including in your morning routine. So I guess the first one is make your bed. Now that doesn't mean you have to make your bed like
religiously.
A hotel, like, and make it like perfect.
Which is what I do when I do make my bed. There's not often.
The advice came. I watched this in a video by Tim Ferriss, but the advice came from like a monk, but like essentially a monk. Like as soon as you get out of bed, make it. It doesn't have to be pretty. Like you can literally just like put the duvet on, and put the pillows on top. But it means that
you're not getting back.
Psychologically, you've achieved something within the first 5 minutes of the day, and even if your day turns like to custard, when you come back at the end of the day, you have that one thing that has gone right during the day. So that's one thing. The other things that people talk about a lot is like meditation, like 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning of the day. That's something, like if that's something that interests you, that's definitely something worth considering. Journaling is like another thing that a lot of people do.
Journaling is very cool.
Yeah. I definitely like encourage you to like think about your morning routine a little bit, and like rushing out the door like straight away and like being real stressed in the morning isn't really the best like foot to start the day off with. I've been like trying to like wake up just a little bit earlier and like have time to like brush my teeth, and like not that I didn't brush them before, but like kind of like logically.
On this episode of the Wholesome Half Hour, we learn about Siren's hygiene habits and how dreadful they really are.
But like sit down and like actually have breakfast and have like 10 minutes to sit down and eat breakfast and like just think without having to be like, I have to shove this in my mouth before I miss my train.
Something that I actually find quite important for mornings, and at me in the comments, but it was actually originally a Kanye West tweet. So you know it's going to be good. No, it was one of his more sane ones, but it was it was in the morning, in the first hour of your morning, like try not to use your phone, or try not necessarily don't use your phone, but don't use social media, because I know a lot of people's first thing to do in the morning is to wake up, roll over and check social media. And I think
so that's actually, I forgot about, that's something I want to do as well. I want to put my phone in flight mode before I go to sleep. So then like I probably won't turn it on until like at least like 30-45 minutes into the morning.
So like it doesn't have to be like a full hour in the morning or something like that, but giving yourself an hour in the morning not to be influenced by a lot of other things around you. I almost feel like the beginning of the day is almost like a little bit of a reset, and if you can really like take that first hour to kind of like see how you're feeling today, see how I don't know, like stressed you are, how like happy you are, how organized you're feeling, like everything like that, without having all these like outside influences coming at you, because I think social media is very bombarding, whether it be IG, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, whether it be like, I don't know, like Reddit, which is arguably probably the most dark recess of social media. But like, just, having an hour just to be you without having like this influence of whatever it is that you subscribe to on your social media accounts.
No, I totally agree.
That's something that I think is really important.
No, I think that's really good. And even just like starting the day, like if you put your phone in flight mode or whatever, or you just don't touch your phone, like starting the day on your terms, not other people's terms. Like I find there's actually well. like having the first half hour of the day to think about what you want to do today and what you want to achieve, rather than like waking up looking at your phone and seeing what like your friends or your boss wants you to do. Like just having that like first 20 minutes of the day to like
just to establish
think about
yourself, I think.
it like in your perspective and what you want to do without outside influence. I reckon that's awesome.
I think that's like a very big thing in just beginning the day, and that's something that I've like am actively still making efforts to do. It's actually very funny though, because without I very much encourage everyone in the comments, even not in the comments, everyone listening or watching, even if you don't want to stick to it all the time, do just give yourself like a day or a few days to
test it out for like a few days.
It's actually very funny, because without if you just completely cut out your phone altogether in the mornings, it's actually very funny how much more time you have.
Yeah.
And how much you actually realise that you're like, what do I actually do with myself? Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
That isn't just scrolling. It's actually very, very odd. It's you feel like I think it's almost like this habit that you have to break where you feel like you haven't started your day if you haven't like connected with something, and that is so not something that I think needs to exist. I think that's I think it very much encourages a little bit of your own independence if you are starting your day on your own terms, like you just said, and you establish your own morning habits, whether that be like if you want to jump in the shower straight away, or have breakfast straight away, or something like that straight away, or bathe your gecko like I did this morning. But like just doing something.
Yeah, you get the gecko on the show.
We will get the gecko on the show when he's feeling better.
Yeah.
R.I.P. No, not R.I.P. Where's alive? He's alive.
He's just unwell.
He's a little bit unwell at the moment, but I will give everyone an update. I own a gecko, just for everyone in the copper.
I'm getting cold, so we're gonna wrap up the show now.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up the show.
Classic Wellington, like the wind picked up like while we're recording. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening along. StudyTime workshops, you can still get on those. They're this holiday, studytime.co.nz/workshops. Revision, if you're feeling uncertain about any of the externals, got revision workshops for those running in Auckland, Hamilton, Wellington, Dunedin and Christchurch. If you want a shirt, head to the StudyTime website. If you want a cap, head to the StudyTime website. I feel this is just a massive sales pitch now. We really enjoy you guys watching. It's school holidays now.
We're not going to be here for the next couple of weeks.
If you want like anything particular from us over the holiday break, let us know. We can do like a special little like slot or something.
Yeah, definitely.
And if there's anything particular you want us to talk about next term, let us know as well.
Yeah, 100%. Again, as always, we love to hear from you guys.
We genuinely love to hear from you.
And Sarah's very cold, so we're going to wrap up. So
thanks for watching,
thanks for watching and listening, guys.
Peace.
Peace.